big one. It's sad, and I think she has done her bit for the industry and for the country. I think that she's paid her dues, and so we pay tribute to her, and
Yo,
we say our condolences to the family. Now let me go to Adam Mensah
Kwame.
Chotome. Adam, good evening.
Yo, evening, bro. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
By the grace of
All
God,
right. Thank
we
you
are
very much
strong.
for joining this evening. And please, I don't know if there is any radio sets behind you, but we can hear some feedback in the background.
Okay. I'm moving away a little.
Okay. All right. Let me speak
Yeah.
to
I'm
Councillor
good.
Frank Edem Adofole. Good evening, Councillor.
Hello, Kwame. I'm here.
You are there. Finally, we're here.
All right.
Adam Mensah, please kindly mute your microphone.
Oh, sorry.
All right. So thank you very much, guys. Adam Mensah, your microphone is still on. Thank you very much, guys. Still here. Joy Entertainment Unpacked. And this evening, we're taking a look at Am Not Yvonne Nelson, a book written by Ghanaian actress, filmmaker Yvonne Nelson. And we're trying to get to understand the book better and also look at some lessons we can learn from the book, the brand implications. We try to look at the psychological implications on Yvonne Nelson herself and all the other people involved, or the people she mentioned in the book. That is what we're trying to do. No name callings, no bad feelings, no ill feelings here and there. We're trying to just see how we can also learn one or two things from this particular book. So that's what we're doing this evening right here. If you have anything to say, you can drop a message by mentioning Joy 99.7 FM Twitter handle in there, and we get them read live here on the show. My name is Kwame Dazi. Let's shoot. So let me start with you, Adam Mensah Chotame, and I know you were there at the launch of this book. Now, just give us a brief report of what really happened at the launch, and then rope that into your review or your assessment of the book after reading it.
All right, Kwame, thank you very much. On Sunday, I was really surprised to see the way Ghanaians really turned up to support Yvonne Nelson. It wasn't held in a crowd, but you could see that everybody was trying to make a way with it. Right from the junction to the pedestrian road, cars were parked on the shoulders. At the filling station, cars were parked right from the entrance to the valley where the resort is. Cars, every place was, packed. When you get to the red carpets, people were standing. No place for you to stand. Then in the auditorium, you could see people standing. They even had to create new, seating arrangements in front for the likes of Becca and a couple of others, Shelley Fripong, and a host of other people. It tells you the enthusiasm. Clearly, people were of the view like me, were thinking it was something to celebrate her achievements and whatnot in the industry. But something struck us at a point. That is, we realized that someone who was launching a book when we thought it was about celebrating something, she wasn't sitting. Clearly, when we go for book launches, the authors are sitting in front and people are praising them. But this time, she wasn't there. She was mostly at the back. She will come once there when somebody comes, she gives her a chair and goes back. It's like, I didn't before the give sound. Then, when she came to give her address, that is when something happened for us to realize that there is a bombshell coming. Because when she was addressing, acknowledging people in the auditorium, she thanked her sponsors and said, gathered here are family. And she paused and said, I don't think any of my family is here. Friends, then she acknowledged the other people. leaving the family house. At this point, there was some dead silence in the room. It was at this point that the, the title of the book really struck me, that this will go beyond just my surface thinking that, oh, the Am Not Yvonne Nelson is maybe fictional or creative writing, but she really wants to say something. So after the launch, when we got hold of the book as media people wanted to rush to, it was at that point that things started emerging. And the big bookshelves started going. So at the launch, as media people, we try to get the juice out of Yvonne Nelson as to why she's writing the book, what is in the book. She remained tight-lipped. All she kept doing was telling us that we should go and read the book. She didn't want to pass comment about any chapter of the book, but was asking us. And we went to open the book and we saw all of this. For me, that I see three breaking hearts in the various chapters. I see a certain broken heart from the family. I see a certain broken heart in her career, and I see broken heart in her relationship life. And all of these things have compounded a compendium of, I mean, pain, which has been outpoured in this book. Because when you look at the trajectory of all of these, and her remarks, the author's remarks, she said that life begins at 40. She will be 30 years in November. She has been grounded since the teacher's question when she was in class 5. And she's turning 38. Up till now, that teacher's question has not been answered. And this is a public appeal for who her father is. Over the almost 38 years, she has used diplomatic means to find that father, but that diplomatic means has not yielded that needed or desired answer. So this time, she wants to shake the table like she's shaking. And if you see somebody who is trying to put her own brand on the line to say she's not Yvonne Nelson and talk about certain personal things, including criminality of the abortion, and throw her own mom under the bus, I wasn't surprised to see a third person's name mentioned in there. Because she didn't spare herself and her biological mom. Like Jemaun to be said, who am I? So I wasn't surprised when it came that he did not spare Sarkozy in the book. But all of these things are headed. Whoever has been mentioned also has the right, when they feel that a certain fact has been misrepresented, for them to seek redress in any
Adam, Adam,
legal.
don't go far into that. Don't go far into that. Let's just tease people with this introductory remarks, and then we get deeper into it in the course of the show. So let's end here with this introduction
So
as we
I think
prepare for the. Yes. So Adam, please take a rest here, and let me go to Randy as of now. But let me acknowledge that we have also listening to us the general manager of Joy Brands, Fifi Comston, listening to us on the space. We have Kenneth Awoche, who is also with the Multimedia Group right here. I've seen DJ Mensa here. I've seen Ram Sonny the Poet. I've seen um yes, all of you. I've seen Quaps, I've seen Abeku, Bartholomew, I've seen Josephine, Spunky, and Jay. Philip Nye is on, and a lot of our good friends joining us this evening for this conversation. So, we are doing a review of a sort of Yvonne Nelson's book, I'm Not Yvonne Nelson, but we're trying to look at the three basic areas as in the psychological ramifications or implications of all the things captured in the book on Yvonne herself and the other people mentioned in the book. We also try to look at the effect on her brand and the other people, that were captured in this particular book, and then the lessons we can learn from this book this evening. Joy Entertainment Unpacked. Please, if you've not followed this page, do that right now. Joy 99.7 FM. Do that right now and get to be part of this big family. Okay, so let me go to Randy Walker, who is a brand expert, and ask him, Randy.
Kwame.
So, what was your reaction when you first heard that Yvonne has released a book and it was shaking everywhere?
So here's the thing, Kwame. I think Yvonne Nelson, an actress of such repute, knows and understands the different dynamics that this comes with. She understands that it's one thing to play, get behind the camera, get in character, act a scene. It's another trying to put yourself out there to the world, bed or be vulnerable and tell your struggles when nobody has asked to the whole world. The fact that you live in Ghana alone in this current dispensation brings its whole set of problems. You're an adult that has its own set of problems. And then you're a celebrity in Ghana where you realize that people are recruiting foreign problems which have zero frame of reference to this country just by virtue of the fact that you're a celebrity and you're supposed to live your life like this. You're getting that every day. Added to all of these things to start, random policing of their activities, especially when they're female celebrities. They have close to little creative freedom to express themselves like they would want to. And having, known Yvonne Nelson from afar and personally over these years, she's not one to back out. She's very audacious. She likes to do the very big, hairy, daring stuff. So, I wasn't surprised to, see something like this. What I was surprised to see was all of these things in the memoir, in that, the thing is, when you get close to people, you realize how much of excesses the people carry. Sometimes we are so romanticized of our ideas of people so much that we think, oh yeah, they are invisible, like they are invincible. Sorry, they have no flaws and nothing. But when you get close to these people, one thing the book has made us understand is that people carry a lot of excesses. It wasn't that we didn't know that before Yvonne Nelson, we did, but it just tells us yet another time that people, especially people down here that you idolize so much, you think have life figured out, got everything going smoothly for them, have probably the most terrible things they're dealing with in their closets. And sometimes people just want to dump some of these excesses somewhere, into somebody, into something. And reading through Yvonne Nelson's book, you realized over a certain period of time, she didn't get that person, she didn't get that thing, she didn't see that avenue. So over time, it starts to build. She starts to trust nobody but herself even more. And then she feels like, hell yeah, nobody's ready to listen. Probably the people that are listening because coming probably are not giving me responses or feedback like I'd really want to hear. What I'm hearing is not as pleasant as I'd want to go with. And so I'll tell my story like I want to say it, and then I'll put it in an outlet where everybody can get to see it, and then at least my voice could be heard by everybody, as many people who probably touch base with whatever medium I put it through. In this case, the book, which, from when it was released up until now, I'm not sure personally she expected this much uproar about it, but it's gotten a lot of acclaim these past few days, which if was part of the reasons why she was launching the book, she will be very, very excited about. But the repercussions on her person, the repercussions on her mental space, the repercussions on what she becomes tomorrow is I wouldn't say it's in jeopardy, but it's a bit shaky now.
Wow. Before you even get to that particular one, let me ask. So, when you read the book or when you heard that, snippets of the book were out already, which part of the book made you go like, hey?
So Kwame, interestingly, I think to a large extent, the popular, chapter of the book was where, Sarkodie, who arguably was the biggest catch in the book, was mentioned. But there's a bigger problem here, which has, a bigger silver lining, because the issue of parenting and paternity, especially in Ghana, is a problem, especially in Africa, is a problem. And we're not talking about that so much. We're almost always toying with the fact that, oh, you're a bastard, and this guy, you don't know your puppy. And we usually toy with some of these things. But these are very critical things we need to actually visit. And having somebody like Yvonne Nelson talk about some of these things, having not to know who the true, or what, sorry, the true identity of a supposed father is or was, is, it gets me, troubled, because in the past you've heard a lot of people talk about how their kids were not theirs. We've seen the likes of Dante Lamte. We've had stories, right? And it gets you worried. I was taken aback by the part where, I don't know if this was public knowledge, but where she was banned and allegedly bullied by Five Pack somewhere 2010.
Yeah, that story has been in
You
the
know,
public domain for some time now.
exactly. So, those are some of the things that, I felt like caught my attention. But, you once the book comes, you probably can't decide what to sink to the bottom and what to crown on the internet. That's not yours to do. That's solely for the fans. So yeah.
All right, Randy Walker there, brands, marketing, music executive there. Thank you very much for your submission. Let me go to Councillor Frank Edem Adofoli. Councillor.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm sure you've read the book now.
Yes, I have.
So, as someone who understands the psychology of people, if Yvonne's, okay, let me put it this way. If you were Yvonne's personal counselor, would you have advised her to write this memoir?
All right. Thanks for the question. And that means that Yvonne might have gone through a couple of counseling sessions, would have known better way to cope with some of these feelings, how to do some of these things. So you'll write it, but maybe some things would have changed. But whatever the case is, this is her story. This is her life. And people need to read from that perspective, put themselves in her shoe, and ask themselves, if I am in the same position, what will be my fate? How many people are in the same place, are going through this kind of stuff? What can we do to make our society, our sisters, our friends, our brothers better with the problems and the issues that we are confronted with? Or what it's doing is just trying to magnify some of the issues within the society. We believe that the men, we carry the seed, we carry the blood. So in as much as we are all adults now, we know that our father's blood is what flows within us. So you are here, you have a blood of a man flowing within you. You don't know the man. You don't know the person's identity. So the question, who am I? Then the next thing is, when I was born, the story around me, naming me, the person was not even available. Getting to know that I was not even wanted. It was like I wasn't accepted. I was a mistake, a product that is supposed to exist. And knowing this as a small child growing up, and then you get to school and then your teacher is helping you even discover this identity with simple questions. And you have people around you, believe me, who you trust, that when I come home and I ask A, B, C, D, these people will tell me the truth. And the people are not willing or are not able to tell you the truth. You are lost. Who can I trust? Who can be my support system? I'm all alone. And that feeling alone, struggling, doing all sorts of things, just with the mindset that I might end up getting the answers, is a very difficult journey for any child to go through. All this one. Yes, please.
Before you go on, you mentioned that if you were her counselor, there were things you would have advised her not to put into the book or the memoir.
I mean, we have had a session to address a certain things, so the way you present, representation might be very different.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. But let's look at the importance of this book to Yvonne. Apart from the financial gains, how is this going to help her?
One, some of the things, let's be honest about it, she has healed from some of the things, overcome some of the things. So being able to talk about it now, is not feeling the pain, the trauma, or going, it's not experiencing those things now. Some of them, let's say issues about the South Korea case like this, it's not so much like when it used to be. The mother's case like this is not so bad now. So even talking about it is one way of showing that, look, I've overcome some of these things. Again, there's image or reputation out there that she's this, she's that. She's trying to put that identity that, look, who you thought I am, I'm not so. And this is also trying to take some of that burden I've been carrying, that misrepresentation, that people see me, hey, I'm not like that. This also take care of that. Again, the shame and the guilt, I believe he has overcome some of these things. So talking about it, it makes it easier for you. Look, you know this about me. You cannot insult me with this. You've seen my wound. You have seen my scar. I've healed from it. What else can you say? If I say, if I'm okay with it, you have nothing else to do. So just coming out with a raw fact for people out there to see what it is, it's easier for her to even go to places that gone are the day, going there might be difficult. Today is able to comfort those places. Even in the past, if let's say in the past, some of the exes, she wasn't able to speak to them. Today, as this book is up there, and they're able to even make any kind of initiating to even talk to her, her approach will be very different from the first. So first, this is good for her therapeutically. You see, when we're doing therapy or having, it's about conversation, being able to talk about this. But in a counseling sphere, it's going to be in a safe environment. People will not hear what is happening. We are doing that to protect you first, because we don't want you to feel shame, bad, guilt. So that confidentiality is there. But when you are okay, you want to put it out there, it means that you overcome a lot of things. And again, you're also addressing an issue out there, which is a social issue, which is concerning part of your life. So I think this is also addressing issues about reputation, family, and so on and so forth. So first of all, this is good for her in terms of her own mental health, in terms of her own social image, and how people see her around, especially with the negative news and so on and so forth. And also to throw a challenge out there. Whoever my father is, whatever it's a guilt, whether it's a shame, whatever you are running away from, if you are alive, come and look for your daughter. And this also should force the mother, whatever it is that you don't want to talk about it, maybe this can force you or compel you to open up.
Okay, counselor, the heart of the whole book is for her to find her father.
Yes, please.
Now, if this book does not help her find her father, would it still serve the purpose?
Yes, if after putting out the book, I'm not been able to find this man, or this man is not able to come out, or I just assume that the man didn't exist, or the man is dead, or man is gone. I think I had to close. In the closure, he had to put this whole chapter to an end. And there's things he have to, she's going to that extent to do all, through all. So this is one of them. So if the man will not come out, the family will not speak out, if the mother will not speak up, then probably at this end, I don't have to think about even a father, that I have a biological father. If I have to look for a father figure, that is fine. If there's no father figure, maybe I have to find a way to cope with my life or manage my life. So I think this book, if we get to that place and the father will not show up, I think the idea of biological father will come to an end. I don't think that you spend time even looking for the father anymore.
Okay, I'll come back to you, but let me go to Adam Mensah Choteme now. Adam Mensah Choteme, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so Adam, this is the Adam, the entertainment journalist, not the counselor. We just spoke to Adam,
Sure.
the counselor. Now speaking to Adam, the journalist.
Oh,
Adam,
yeah.
do you think this book is going to serve Yvonne Nelson any good?
Yeah. I think so, because clearly you could see someone who was battling with something, and she feels this will be a healing process for her. Clearly, it is something she feels will help her heal. And one, that would be the psychological, I mean, dealings where she is able to deal with something which has been having in her cortex for many years. And she also feels that after using those diplomatic tactics to get the answers didn't come, she feels that shaking the table this way may bring the truth. Maybe there are some people who know about this but have not heard her publicly look out for. They may be thinking, oh, maybe one person is aware. But for her to come out this way, those who know parts of the truth may be awakened. And for all you know, may get to her back door. Because certainly when the pregnancy happened, some people saw it. And some people might be aware in that society where the mother lived at the point. So coming out this way, she wants to provoke the system so that whoever has any iota of this truth may come out because she feels that the mother is not ready. And it's why
Adam, I'm not cutting
2020.
you. I'm not cutting, but don't you think it is even possible the mother doesn't really know who exactly is responsible for the pregnancy or what's responsible for the pregnancy?
It's possible. But what all of these things could have ended if maybe the mom had been candid with her. You understand? If you don't know, you admit and tell the person that is transparency and openness. You tell her that because of this and this and this, but you Nelson says in the book that the mother doesn't sound remorseful. So she feels that there is no way to sympathize with her that she doesn't know. But she has always pretended not to, tell her what really is the issue. So, if she needs help, she should first avail herself that I don't know. Because if Kwame, you need help and you do not make people know you need help, it's difficult for them to come to your aid. So she, the mother, needs to let her know whatever happened. And that truth will help Yvonne Nelson calm down. And that is what has not been done. And it's why, for me, I ask, where is the family in all of this? If we should pay, where are they? Because if you read the book, you don't get the family involved, too much involved in all of this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At a point, it was rather her ex-boyfriend, Fianco Bosman, who lives in the US and saw her online odd hours, who tried to intervene by speaking to Yvonne Nelson's mother. So I think the family also has a role to play. And I'm clearly sure that right as at this point that the book is making waves, both the traditional and the digital media is awash with the story, the extended family will come to the realization that something must be done about it. So clearly, her tactics of coming out in this public activism or appeal manner may work because it may get the family to work and may get others who know the truth to also work. So it may
Okay.
work for her at the end of
Mm-hmm. Okay. Adam Mensah Choteme is a journalist with the Spectator newspaper. Let me move to Counselor again before I come to Randy. Randy, hang in there for me for a while. Let me come to Counselor again. Counselor Frank Adam Adofoli.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we just looked at the positive impact of this book on Yvonne Nelson. But are there any negative impacts psychologically?
All right, so I'll touch a bit on the positive, then I'll move to the negative. One is the relief we're talking about getting that relief that at least this whole thing I've been carrying all this while, I've let it out now. I'm better now. At least, if not fully better, a bit better. That is a part of the positive one. The negative one is going to stir up conflict. We live in a culture that people think that some of these issues should not come out. It's like you are watching our dating linen in the public. This is something we need to sit down and talk about it under closed door. And this is a young lady who has been struggling to get her answers and nobody is minding her. So she has to come to this extent. So this is going to create a big conflict within the family setting, even between the mother and the siblings. Like you've gone to disgraces, you're going to make a look back. So this is one of the negative things that will happen. In this case, if they are able to navigate through this conflict period and be able to understand each other, I think they can come out stronger. So conflict is one thing that will happen. Again, regret. Imagine what is happening now. I think the mother, one person that will be looking back and be thinking about this whole thing. Am I a bad person? If I have any other way to do it, wouldn't I have done it a different way? Or is it that what I did to help my daughter, as the best I've given, the best was not enough? A lot of questions. She's going to be asking questions and she'll be feeling bad. So the regret, the shame, which is something negative coming out, the mother is going to be dealing with this. The mother is going to be dealing with this for a couple of times. I believe those who are closer to her will see the emotions, how she's trying to cope with this, they will see it, which is something that we should look out for. Because if we don't look out for, this can lead to something being very bad. Again, looking at what is happening here, yes, we know that the brand and the business people are there. They will have a conversation on that. This is also going to affect some of the associations. I know you've mentioned Sarkodie, as now you're talking about now. You've mentioned other Nigeria. These people you've mentioned their name. They have family, they have relationship, and they have other businesses. How are people going to look at me going forward? Is it going to be this guy who impregnated somebody and ran away? People are not even looking at the fact of the story that I was 22 years when I was struggling to make it. When I met a lady, maybe probably I was not even looking for a relationship or somebody call a serious relationship. My priority was music career. We were just carried away. She was even older than me. I don't know what happened. Then we end up in that bad place. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I had to deal with the whole thing. So in my mind, that's what I thought was the best. But today, it didn't look like that is the best. And this is going to affect my reputation one way or other. How some people look at me as if I am not a responsible person, in quote. Yet that's not the case here. I've been seeing that, oh, this guy is responsible. He has been one time girlfriend. All this while, but the story now is different. So this is going to hurt other people, if not a brand, a business, but their own reputation, their goodwill. A bit of them will be affected, but they have to find a better way of coming out to clear some of these things, of coming out, trying to turn this whole thing around for their own good. If they do that, that will be good for them. Again, Yvonne being explosive like this, she has got to a place that she has had negative ideas or mindset about marriage or relationship altogether because of what she has seen, what she has experienced, her own background. And this is forming a character. So her perception going to relationship is different. So those who want a genuine relationship with her, sometimes looking at what is in the public space, what is happening, they might be very careful. And coming in, the commitment level might suffer. I won't give my all. I'm very careful. I'm training with caution. And I have to know what to say, what not to say. I don't know when I'll be in the next book or I'll be in the next place. And this can also affect a future relationship going forward, which she should be finding a way to deal with it as time goes on. Lastly, to add up to that, I know she has been a strong woman who speaks her mind wherever she goes, whatever you want, and that's what she does. That is true. People might not like her for who she is, because in this life, the way we process things are different. The way I speak is different. The way I feel, the way I cope, everything about me is different. But sometimes people think that the fact that we are human beings, we are Ghanaian, we should all do things the same way. So just coming out to speak like this, I know some people who follows her are very disappointed in her. Some people who believe, who hold her in the highest thing, they are very disappointed in her. And if this thing is not managed very well, that could also affect a bit of her business, a bit of followership, and then how people see her own reputation. So some of these are some of the negative stuff that might happen.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Frank Edem Adolfoli. They're still here on Joy Entertainment Unpacked. This is what we do every Wednesday. We dissect and digest all the issues in the world of tourism, arts, and culture right here on Joy FM's Twitter handle. My name is Kwame Daz, a show produced by Philip Nye. Oliver Fangman is responsible for social media. I've seen Professor Mike Yamwa there, Felicia Osei, Cookie T, I see you, I see Nana Bwedu Ayebwafo also on. Quabs is still on, and all the good people who have joined this evening for this discussion. Yeah, so we are talking about Am Not Yvonne Nelson. Yvonne Nelson's book that was launched on Sunday, and it's generated some conversations on social media and in the traditional media space. And so we are also taking a look at it from different angles, trying to look at the implications in terms of the psychological implications. We look at the brand implications and all that. I have this evening Adam Mensa Chotame, who is an entertainment journalist and a PR executive. I have Randy Walker. Randy is media, brands, and marketing executive. And I have Councillor Frank Edem Adolfoli. Let me go to Randy and let's talk a bit about brand. And so, Randy, I don't want you to talk about the psychological aspect. Let's go straight to the brand
Kwame.
aspect. Let's take a look at her brand as an actress, as a filmmaker. How will this impact her brand?
I mean, Kwame, in the past, we've seen bigger, situations of maybe similar valence or volume happen to Yvonne Nelson, where she's meddling in politics, activism, reaching out, speaking her mind. So you could say she's had a fair share of what it tastes like to be on the other side of, the fun love, the brand love, and everything. And as big as she was as an actress, she was a very, very, very potent and viable, bankable actor or actress, if I should say. From the Glow deals to the Casa Trasaco deals to all of the deals she locked down when she was very ripe, in a game. What I think this is going to do, especially because it's happening in Ghana, I mean, because reason why I'm saying that is, you look at some of the parts of the world and similar things have been done by some people. Touchy subjects have been, posted or presented in formats like this, such that people are creating books talking about things that are very touchy. Gabrielle Union in a book, you got anything stronger, was talking about her fertility issues, her surrogacy journey, typically things she would randomly not talk about in public. But then she did. After that, what happens to her? A brand spike, more brand affinity. She has a hold of her brand now, more love for Dwayne Wade, her husband. There's a lot of things that are happening. But like I said, because it's happening in the confines of Ghana, the perceptions are different, the thoughts are different. And immediately you would see, if it's not started already, you would see a shift in public perception, like Counselor said, how people are going to perceive her, how brands, how corporate Ghana is going to welcome her now, because how almost everybody in the country wants to play safe sometimes, not because they don't want to be daring, but it's a country where we don't have as much patient and ready capital to go around to test waters, to risk it all. And so you'd want to know how that's going to work for Yvonne Nelson. Sorry, I think that's going to be something she'd need to cross over as well. Another thing is an unnecessary intrusion into her privacy. Where you were a celebrity, you were getting all that information out there. People knew about you and everything. But now they're going to take a deeper introspection into everything that's happening around you, with or without your permission, because you put it out there, and everybody would probe as much as they can, as long as they would, and as deep as they desire to get whatever information they want. Like I had Adam talking about something, and I happen to live close to Dansoman and Martin de Perez, and if her parents, her mom still lives there. There are people who are very, very, very intrusive enough to go and hover around where she lived just to see if the parents are there. People do crazy things just because you let them. And these are things you can't control because you put yourself out there now. There's also that part of, scrutiny unnecessarily of her sexual life. She's an adult. Whatever she chooses to do with her sexual life, her sexual orientation, the kind of men she chooses, how many men she chooses, and everything. She doesn't owe to us. She owes it to herself. But now she should be asking herself if she's ready for that roller coaster of questions that are going to come from the media, from fans, from her family, from people around her, because they're going to come. Because one thing we realized in the book was, that dysfunctional quote unquote relationship she had with men. And you could realize how much of that, she wanted to fill, whatever void that was because of that dysfunctional relationship again she probably had with her parents. And so for somebody like that, you wouldn't judge so much. You give her a lot of grace moving into some of these things because you don't know. Could the situations probably have been handled better? Maybe yes. But we are not repositories of moral rights, and we probably can't tell what exactly she's supposed to do. When she needed somebody to talk to, I bet nobody was there to listen to her. It's probably why she chose this outlet again, and she's here, all in the news, all in the books, and everywhere. I'm sure if she sat a couple of people down and they told her, listen, guys, if the person you could trust the most, in this case, your mom, tells you something of this nature, your mental space now becomes breeding ground for all sorts of unhealthy things because you're starting to question yourself. Who's actually there for me? Who should I trust? If my mom can't keep it a buck with me and tell me, this is your dad, this is what I expect you to do, this is how I expect you to approach whatever conversation you're going to have. If you can't get your mom to say that, that's on a brand. I think it's going to, take a lot of, undoing and,
All right,
early
Randy.
days yet, but
Yes, yes, yes. But you just talked about the effect or the impact on Yvonne Nelson's brand. But there were other brands that were mentioned in the book. For example, Sarkodie. Do you think this can affect Sarkodie's brand in any way?
so interestingly, so immediately news about this saga popped up. People flew about tweets and comments and posts about how Sarkodie has been able to, over the years, navigate the negative and muddy waters in the industry in terms of how people are either smearing him with bad reportage or he did something he has to address, not honoring a feature, doing something, and all of those things. And personally, I think it's going to take a toll on him because South Korea for some years has been positioned to be that pro-life, pro-parenting guy. And you hear this thing. You may not see it eventually and as fast, readily now, but it will happen because today we saw something. As to whether that was a response to whoever that was, you probably can't tell. But that was very insensitive, and you never know who's watching, you never know who's listening, you never know how many people may be touched by this situation and how many toes you may be stepping on. Of course, he may lose some fans, but I doubt it be anything significant. Again, because we treat some of these things differently. And the way people idolize people in the country are different. I mean, stan culture today is at its highest, point. And so some of these things may take a bit of a dent on the artist, but in the long run, you probably wouldn't see how much negative it will throw at them. I'm looking to see it change, but in my opinion, I think yes, but I'm looking to see how exactly it's going to work out on him.
As a marketing person, I've heard some people say she she could even turn this into a movie. Do you think it's something that is viable?
I think it should come. I So here's the thing, right? And I digress just for a few seconds. Now, Fantana happened to be in. I'm sure you know about this, and as many people who are here know about this. She happened to be in the Netflix special, "Young, Famous, and African."
Yeah, yeah.
And there was one guy in the show, Luis, who was literally all over everybody, and up until somebody reached out to that guy to sit him down to actually understand how did this guy approach friendships and relationships? He never got to tell a story. Yvonne Nelson has gotten the platform to tell a story, not to just Ghanaians, but to the world. Today, Ghanaians probably have the hold of your book in physical copies. It's available on Amazon and Kindle and all those platforms, Libby and all those platforms, and people can access them worldwide. Where's the leg to this? Where are the people who are outside that need to get an in your story going to hear from you? They can't catch up on all the interviews. They can't catch up on, all the red carpet appearances you're going to make after this. A movie should really come. If she really wants to do this and because, her posture, when he starts asking her what's happening with you, she's like, yeah, it's in the book. What's happening with it? It's in the book. That's line should probably translate into something bigger. Sorry, Adam, you're saying?
Yeah, Adam.
Let me chip in this on this. There has been a recreation of this story. So before the book was launched, that documentary was shown where everything has been put in a video. So she has done a recreation of this in a video which was played at the launch.
Is it a documentary? Is it a documentary?
Of a sort.
Okay.
It gives us a clearer picture of what is in the book.
Okay. But is it something that could pass for a movie or a film?
Yes, definitely, Kwame. Sorry,
okay.
Adam, you can go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Adam Mensan Chotome. Randy, please continue.
Yes. Thanks, Kwame. Yes, and yes. I think this has a lot of it's gained a lot of ground. I mean, it's gained national interest. We thought it wasn't going to hold the tanks of Ghanaians for a long time. And looking at the things happening, in close proximity to this situation, but we're seeing it transcend beyond some of the very, very national news and current affairs, the concerns with, the macroeconomics of the country and everything. And we're seeing it topple over all the headlines. That's certainly something to bag on. That's certainly something to look out for.
Okay. Adam Mensan Choteme, let me ask this question, then we move on to the next part of this conversation. So, there are some names she did not mention. I've heard some people say, oh, why did you leave this person out? Of course, she's telling her story, so she decides whose name to bring into the book. For example, the name of Nanado's family member who approached her with the offer to contest their parliamentary seat, the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. Why do you think she would leave out some names and mention some names? How important were the names that were mentioned? Adam Mensan Chotome, are you there?
Yes, Kwame. Sorry, Kwame. Can you hear me?
Yeah, did you hear my question?
Yeah, I heard a question. I think it is based on the importance of the story she's telling. I mean, there is the whole trust of the matter. There is a certain pivot of the whole story. So clearly, she sees the most important, the less important, and when certain names are mentioned, it gives a certain effect to the most important and the less important. So she feels that okay, maybe if I mention this name, it doesn't go to the core of the story because these are maybe some fillers just to ensure I get certain pages, or they are something as an attachment to the whole story I was telling. So maybe those were not the main issues she wanted to raise about the book, but it was like an add-on which help to tell the story. So it doesn't do anything to her, or it doesn't bring any effect to the story she was telling. So maybe it was why she left it, because when she leaves it, her story is still intact. So it depends on the importance to the picture and the story she wanted to tell. That is
Okay.
why she decided to leave certain names out,
All
because it
right.
doesn't help paint the picture for her in any way.
Adam Mensa Chotome there. Let me read some of your messages here. Yeah, so I have some of them here. So this one from Kwame Ose Owusu, he says, "Word said by Randy, he hits the nail right on the head. How the brands have responded to this issue is not the right way. Subliminal shots, sorry, are not the way to go about addressing it. Coming from a marketing executive, I'm happy." And then another one from Adams Mustafa says, "This book is not going to serve her any good if care is not taken. Imposters will pop into her pending situation. Remember, some DNAs could be alike. What I would like her mother, what if her mother was forcibly taken in, which she found it a shame to say the truth?" Please, when you're typing, kindly take your time for us to get what you're typing, right? Okay, so Adams Mustafa again says she shouldn't have mentioned the names of those guys in her bio. If you have read the blueprint of other people's biographies, you notice that the blueprint has been sieved so well before published. Another one from Kwame Osewusu. It's a teaser documentary, so I think this is in response to Adam Mensa Choteme's comment or submission on the fact that the book has been put together in the form of a documentary. And some more messages. Okay, so you can also send your message here. Just tag Joy 99.7 FM Twitter handle, mention us in that, and let's get it read right here on Joy Entertainment Unpacked. My name is Kwame Dazi. Let me remind you that you can also listen to this particular conversation, the show, on podcast, on Spotify, on Apple, Google podcast later on. And on Saturdays, we bring you the most authoritative entertainment talk show on radio. It's live on Joy 99.7 FM on Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. It is called Showbiz A to Z. Now, let me come to you, Counselor Adofoli. So, let's look at some of the things Yvonne's mom told her. That she was a mistake. She wanted to abort her, and even told her a lot of negative things about Mr. Nelson. What impact do you think such statements would have had on Yvonne?
All right. Thanks for the question. So leading to the question you just asked, like what my co-panelists just answered, you see, with the issue with the politician, why more emphasis was not given is the book is about the father. One, she had a certain set of needs which were missing in her life, and she wanted to meet those needs or fill those voids or take care of them or certify them. That is why she's on a quest to find it. So the relationship that she got herself in were even part of the things she was missing. I was not loved, I was not accepted, and then this led into this kind of relationship. Again, coming from your own mother, you see, if you don't have a dad, it's the woman who gave birth to you, who fed you. So the best bond any person will have on earth, the mother is that bond. That's the primary caregiver. So this is your mother that you've grown to know her, is the one who love and care for you. And this mother is telling you that I don't love you. You are a mistake. It's a rejection. Imagine we guys go out and then propose to a very beautiful lady and then they turn you off. They reject you. How do you feel? You feel very bad. Yeah, your biological mother, the home you come to, who feed you, who pay your fees, who you come to, anything is your last stop. It's telling you that, look, you are a mistake. Where do you go to? I have nobody. I'm just lost in mine. And having that word in your mind playing back day in, day out. See, the things we don't know is the words we say, these words are like a seed. So the child will play the word back. When you play this word back, this will contribute to how she feels, and that will translate to some kind of behavior pattern. So once she's thinking about this, she started thinking that I'm outcast. What happened to my mom for my mom to say this? Maybe probably my mom is not a good man, a good woman, a good mother. Let me go and look for the dad. And when he went out, what he's seen about the dad is even worse, confirming what the mother even already said about the dad. It makes it worse. So those words has done her a lot of damage. And coming from her mother, she has lived long with those words. As long as 30 years, 38 years, 36 years, those words have been with her. So the damage is deep, trust me. And to be able to overcome that will take a lot of work. It will take a lot of work. In fact, if you meet somebody out there, the person say, I love you, or say every beautiful things about her, being a mother figure, she would have been very happy this is coming from her own mother than anybody out there. Because this is what you want from the mother. This is a need from the mother. And if that need is missing, if I'm here and you say I am a mistake, and you even made an attempt to abort me, and even spoke about those ordeal, I was at a Kolebu, what I wanted to do, and something happened, and the doctor saved your life. This doctor is somewhere, but they refuse to even show you the doctor to even say, oh, thank you for saving my life. Even my mother doesn't want me. There's somebody out there who wants me. Those windows, those opportunities have been denied. So at that age, he has been carrying burden. But one thing that he's not asking herself, what have caused my mother to be feeling this bitter, this angry, having this regret? Maybe what happened to my mother is very painful. And that pain, that shame is something like a secret in the process that I don't want it to come out to the public, not for you. It's something that I vowed to myself, I don't want to talk about it. I want to close it. And this is one thing that Yvonne is also not seeing this because she's also hurt. And it hurt people. So when the mother is hurt, the mother is hurting the daughter. The cycle continues. The daughter ends up hurting the mother. And it continues in that regard. So the damage is deep, as we see, and taking time to heal will take a lot of effort to restore that relationship. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor Frank. Frank Edem at Foley. We still hear Joy Entertainment Unpacked, and we have one of our speakers join us now. She's one of the very vibrant entertainment pundits in Ghana, an event planner, also a writer, and she has joined us now. Yeah, Whitney Boache Mensa is on now. Good evening, Whitney.
Hey, Kwame, how are you?
I'm good, but I know it's a very sad evening for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. The passing of one of the very huge legal luminaries who has played a part in the creative space, Cynthia Kwaku. I mentioned that earlier on in my introduction. That is sad news for the industry. And so I understand why Whitney is a bit down this evening. But Whitney, let's come to I'm Not Yvonne Nelson. I read the book and you've assessed everything in there. What is your take in 2 minutes?
I think that people should allow people to do them. One, people should allow people to heal in a way they want to. Also, people need to read and not just follow headlines, pick bits and pieces of what bloggers put out there and then just run away with that as an entire story. Because for me, having finished reading the entire book, there's so many levels of the book that the last thing on my mind is even what everybody is looking at, which is the SAC issue that is all over the place. She has done what a lot of people are not doing. And I say this because there are a lot of grown-ups who are broken children but mimicking adulthood. A lot of adults who are broken children and they're mimicking adulthood. And people think they want to use this to have fun. I get that a lot of things that happen in Ghana, we try to use humor, but we don't need humor in everything. Listen, what she's written about, if you've read the entire book, and not to do a spoiler alert for people who haven't read, in the end where she wrote a letter to whomever her father is out there, it was sad. It's like your entire existence on earth, you don't know who gave you life. You do not know. And unfortunately, yes, society, and it is right that mothers are the beacons of hope in every child. When every child thinks of safety for most of the time, the first person that comes to mind is a mother. Unfortunately, she's not getting that. And if you read the entire book, first person that you were told was your father. And because of things you have heard about the person, you didn't even have that bond with the person. And the fact that she was lied to a second time and had the guts. Yvonne has so much guts because to go to the extent of actually asking for a DNA from a family that has opened up to love her, anybody would take advantage of it that, okay, so the second person I've been told is my dad. His children, he's passed on, but his children, and I doff my hat to the GT family, his children have wholeheartedly accepted me. She spoke highly of them, how they even cook for her, they will send food her way, they will make candles for her and all that.
And the family were even at the college.
Oh, they were at the lodge, right?
And they bought the book, 2 books for 15,000 cedis.
Wow. That's some good
even
information.
when she requested the DNA. Listen, I wish a lot more families would be like that. They said, listen, blood doesn't make us relations. We've accepted you. It doesn't matter the outcome. But Yvonne said in her head, it still didn't sit with her because she's been lied to. And truthfully, to be hurt a second time because what you expected wasn't what you got. I am surprised people are making a joke out of this. People who probably are out there and their fathers have children in all the 16 regions and they know nothing about it. It will only happen when probably there are things to share, or which, if you read the book, you will realize that even when there were properties to be shared and she was called, she said, because I am not a biological child, I want nothing to do with it. There are levels of this book that people need to read. There are levels of lessons in this aspect. And I was so sad yesterday when I noticed that a contraceptive company, which is supposed to do better, know better, actually decided to tone the lines of trolls and laugh at her. That is how low we have sunk as a people. And we won't even, and I can bet you that whoever the social media manager is, the person hasn't even read the entire book. Because listen, for most people that are laughing at her and this sad thing, ask how many people, how much they know of childbirth, contraceptives, protection before they hit the age they are now. Most people are even 25 and over, and they still do not get what it means to protect yourself. So if somebody has made herself vulnerable, has become the face of telling her story, the last thing we each need to do is to mock her, is to make a joke out of what she has said. You may not agree with a lot of the things she has said. You may not agree with her mentioning names. But it is her story to tell. If you feel you're so high, you feel you have a different story to tell, that's why they are publishers. Write yours. But let us not make mockery out of somebody who till date is still searching for that one answer. She wants to know who her biological father is. And I heard you asking why she mentioned some names and didn't mention some names. When people are writing their memoir, they choose what to write and what. Some people do not even write any names at all. But the speculations in the book are so high that you know exactly who this is pointing at. You know exactly where this story came from. For me, the lessons in are what we all need to sit down, because we each at a point can relate to some of the stories. But sadly, and I am saying this on fact, somebody should tell me it is not true. Half the people trolling here, they haven't even read the book. They haven't even read the book.
Yeah.
But I am glad that for once, something like a book is trending and will probably be sold, because truthfully, Ghanaians do not like reading. We do not like reading unless the person is preparing for exams, or naturally the person likes reading. But because we like people's issues, people's affairs, that person slept with that person did something with that person. So that is, we are always trying to hear what's the biggest scandal, who has done this, who has done what. There are levels to this thing. And that aspect that came out that people are running with should be the last thing that anybody should it for me, it does nothing in the book. It does.
Wonderful.
It's been
Great.
done, said, but it does nothing. It's the lessons of what we say to our children when they are young that lives with them for the rest of their lives. As a parent, that's the lesson that I would expect any parent to learn from it. That the words you say as a parent, the child carries it for the rest of their lives. It shapes them for the rest of their lives. So we should know what we say to our children, the conversations we should have with our children, that shapes them into whether they'll be bitter the rest of their lives or they'll be better the rest of their lives.
I love it. I love it. Whitney Boache Mensah, the writer, events planner, entertainment pundit. That's awesome. Now, Whitney, before I move to counselor and I come back to Randy and Adam, let me ask you, how important is fatherly love to children?
How important is it to do what?
How important is fatherly love to children?
Oh, you can never underestimate fatherly love to children. You can never listen, no matter how much you try to downplay it. That is why, for me, when it was Father's Day last week and the whole gender war about fathers and all that, for me, all I want us to do is to ask ourselves, as this generation, what lessons can we pick from our parents and be better parents? You can never underestimate the essence of fatherly love. And that is why even in America, they try as much as possible, even with children who are incarcerated, to get them male figures who have made it out of the ghetto, who have made it out of Compton and all that, to talk to them, to know that, listen, just because there's a father figure missing in your life, it doesn't mean you take the wrong path. You can, as a mother of 3 boys, I know they always say that boys gravitate towards their mothers, but I can tell you that you can never ever underestimate the influence of a father. And every boy the father is their first hero. Every girl, that's their first love. The examples they set for the rest of their lives, that is what these children pick up on. So I tell people that when people say, oh, that person is my mentor, that person is my hero, for me, I always try to tell people that as a parent, you should be your child's first mentor. You should be your child. I want that person to be my role model. It should come from you first. I keep teasing my oldest that he supports a bad team, which is Arsenal. And if you're supporting Arsenal here, I've said it. But it is because he's growing up seeing his father proudly devoted to Arsenal. And there were times when Arsenal was losing, and I said that, listen, it's okay if you want to change your team like your brothers. You know what he told me? He said, I never want daddy to see that I have failed him. And he's 14. For the other two, the Irish twins, as for them, they are rebels. So they came choosing their own team. But I'm I am saying this for us to know that, listen, you can never underestimate how much of a difference you make in the life of your child as a parent. That is why I always say that no matter what you go through with the mother or father of your child, it has nothing to do with your children. They never asked to be here in the first place. It is from your actions or inactions. So once you have taken that decision to sleep with somebody unprotected, and whether the person trapped you, the person, I would put rape aside, because that is unforgivable.
Or you trapped the person.
Whichever way the child came, or you divorced, you're separated. Do not punish the child with each other's indifferences. That child has nothing to do with it. I get sad when I hear fathers especially say that, oh, I am not paying the child's fees because I am punishing the mother. It's the child that suffers. I am not visiting the child because I am annoyed with the mother. It's the child that suffers. When the part where Yvonne said that she's had, she wrote that she now has tons of shoes because shoes were hard for her to get, but she saw the other Nelson boy constantly changing his shoes.
Yeah.
It resonated with me. I at a point I had to ask myself why I had over 150 pair of shoes. In fact, it was a question that even during COVID, when we were locked down and we had nothing to do, my husband decided to walk into my walk-in closet and started counting my shoes and said, how many feet do you have? And I was making excuses, but he asked me, and I told him that because at a point, Ghana Airways shut down. My mom was home. The job was hard to get. So we had to cut down a lot of things. And I was wearing one pair of shoes for an entire school year. And I vowed that, listen, when I grow and I start working, I'm not wearing a second-hand shoe. I am not wearing hand-me-down shoes from anybody. And I will buy the best shoes in the world. It comes from a 12-year-old who is grown now. So some of the things, it comes to play. Some of the things you would think that, oh, children, they are kids, so they won't think. But children are the ones who think a lot. They think through things a lot. So whatever you say to them, whatever they hear you say, they carry it for the rest of their lives. My kids keep asking me, who is your favorite? And I tell them, each of you is my favorite because the circumstances leading to having each of you, it was practically life and death. So I can't choose a favorite. Imagine if I saw this person is my favorite child. For the rest of their life, it's in their head that, oh, so that's why you don't, maybe you unconsciously, you don't even think that you do some things to the other person, but they are carrying it. And that is what she was saying, probably because these people, the other two siblings, their father was still in their life. So they were treated differently from her. And that is how come for the rest of her life, she's searching for. And it even comes from where you will get validation. If you don't get it, if children get validation from their parents, they don't go out there looking for validation. The things you teach your children, when they go out there, they are so validated in themselves. It is not somebody telling them that this or that, because they've been told over and over. I sometimes, after reading this book, I have come to the conclusion that maybe that is why even sometimes in her relationships, it wasn't successful, because she's seeking something that a relationship wouldn't give her. And until she gets that thing for the rest of her life, it will be a question mark. So me, I
Okay,
would never judge that. But I will
good.
always say that you can never underestimate the impact of any parent on a child's life.
Good. Whitney Watching Mensah, thank you very much for your submission. Let me go to some of your messages that I come to Michelle Obama 2.0 and then Legon today. Randy, I've seen your hand up. I'll come back to you later. Now, this one from multiple choice, and he says, inclusion of her sex life was unnecessary. Even if she would, it could have been from a different perspective. Mentioning names was needless. I think that chapter has superimposed the most vital part of the whole project. Maybe that's a strategy to sell. I don't buy into that. Okay, that's multiple choice. And we have one from Kwame Osewusu again. He says, some of the stories some women have shared after the release of the book uh, show that Ghana as a society has a lot of women experiencing challenges that are hardly talked about. I pray any woman who has experienced this heals with support offered. Okay, and Kwame again. The least Yvonne Nelson is asking for is love, not scrutiny as seen from certain pundits. Questioning her questioning her perspectives of why she chose to talk about certain topics is unfair. If it were a movie, we could make such suggestions, but this is her life. Okay. Another one from, I think I saw one here. Thank you, Whitney. What I have found this week is the amount of tearing down happening on Twitter. I have run through the book, and how people are talking about brand protection is the least of the worries. Imagine a human being going about trying to find her dad. There are more. So this one from Saini Ibrahim Lukman says, the heartlessness of her mother suggests to me that she was either raped or she had an affair with a stranger who she has no traces of. I also think it's not a good thing for her to have ended her book with so much desperation of knowing her father. Imposters are well and alive. Okay. Kwame Osewosu again. Okay. So we have more. Let me just go to Michelle Obama 2.0. She's been on for a while now. Good evening, Michelle.
Hi, good evening, Kwame. How are you?
I'm fine. I trust you good.
Yes, I'm doing very well. Great discussion.
Fantastic. Yeah. Let's hear you.
So, I just want to really appreciate a lot of things that Whitney said. I think that she has said so much that I had already wanted to touch on. I was actually at her book signing today at the Accra Mall, which was amazing.
Oh, great.
I also want to let a lot of people know that as much as people are saying that she's being talked about, a lot of people are also purchasing her book. And it goes to show that, even like as a woman, like Whitney said, there's a lot that she touches on in the book that you can relate to. And people are searching for answers. But because we live in a society where it's not common for people to come out that way, I think that there might even be people online who are bashing her but have gone to purchase the book because they want to learn a thing or two. And that's how Ghanaians are. They'll never tell you in your face that you've done amazing and they'll clap for you. They always have to scrutinize what you've done because they cannot do it. So I just wanted to touch a bit on her book. I read the book and I got it online on Amazon. It's receiving a lot of great international attention. I don't know Yvonne from anywhere. I just grew up watching her on TV. She's not so much older than me, and I think that she's an amazing person. I think that when someone is healing, and if you're someone who's done soul searching or you've looked back at your life to see how far you've come, because when you start your mental health process, that's what you're told to do, to be grateful for things that have happened in your life. You come to realize that it is important to focus on the good things, and that's what she did in the book. Like in the beginning of the book, she takes us through her time in school, how she struggled in school, and sometimes we think that maybe having everything, and she talks about her mother's shop, so maybe having everything or being well-to-do or going to a particular school like equals you're happy or everything is right. But so many people didn't know what was going on in her life. And how many children are going to school who are going through things that we don't know of? And nobody's talking about it at home. And everybody is quiet and everybody is silent. So I don't know. I really appreciate that she's writing these things. And if you read the foreword and you read the author's notes, she does say that she's giving a chance or giving ingredients for people who look up to him, people who are looking to enter showbiz or kind of like follow her path, which a lot of Ghanaian females are into right now because there are no jobs in the country. So if you're looking to do this, it's not going to be easy. And these are some of the things that you're going to face. And these are some of the things that I'm writing to you so that you can be better in your life. And that's such an act of like, it's so selfless because a lot of adults don't do that in Ghana, and someone is doing it and people have time to scrutinize. It's just sad. But in any case, fast forward, I think that she's doing very well.
Great.
I don't think that she's looking for sympathy from anyone because, like Whitney said, if you read the book, you'll come to understand that it's an appreciation for life. She's still searching for certain answers, and she's not even looking from it from the public. She's not looking for. She doesn't really care about sponsorship deals or anything like that because, mind you, when she was pregnant, she says in her book that she lost a very big sponsorship company because of her pregnancy. So if she can lose that kind of sponsorship because of her pregnancy, then her life story is her life story. Like, she doesn't care about brands or whatever it is. She has a thriving school that is growing. She has so many amazing things in her life that are pushing her forward, and people are buying her book. And I'm going to continue to support her, and I keep showing up in Twitter spaces to defend and to support her as a woman.
Love that. Michelle Obama 2.0. Thank you. Let me move to Legon today. Legon, what's happening today? Legon today. Maybe Legon will come tomorrow. Let me. Legon is not here today. Let me try and speak to Enoch. Yes, Enoch Asari is here. Good evening. Enoch Asari. Well, Enoch is not ready to speak as well. Let me bring in Boga Ali Hashim. Boga is on as well. You can also drop your message, or if you want to speak, you can just request for the microphone. Let's put you through before I go back to my speakers, and then we touch on the last part of the conversation. Still here, Joy Entertainment Unpacked, Joy FM's Twitter Spaces show on showbiz. We talk about tourism, art, and culture every Wednesday. Here, my name is Kwame Daz, the show produced by Philip Nye. And this evening, we are taking a look at Yvonne Nelson's book, I'm Not Yvonne Nelson. We are assessing the ripple effects. Boga Ali Hashim, good evening. Boga Ali Hashim, your mic is on. Good evening. Well, please, if you request for the microphone, kindly speak when the mic is given to you. Still here. Let me go to Randy. Randy, I saw your hand up earlier on.
Right, Kwame. Yeah, so I wanted to touch quickly on a part of Whitney's submission, which dwelt on the brand, post or whatever social media publication was made by whichever brand that was made. It's out and out shameful. And my friend Peter from Muse tells me the post has been taken down, which in itself goes on to tell you how shameful that is. And that there are over 1 million Yvonne Nelsons right now in the country who have seen probably more terrible things with regards to pregnancy and child responsibility issues. There are even 1 million more who have grown up like this, but are very, very shy and timid, so they bottle some of these things up. This could have been the perfect brand story, the perfect partnership avenue, where you're putting Yvonne Nelson as the front runner of whatever brand you have, and then having it speak to the people, the millions of people in the country who are, using your product practically. But he chose to be bottom tier, troll Yvonne Nelson and then go on to delete your posts after. I think that's very, very bottom barrel behavior. And whoever is behind that needs to be, just as much as they put that publicly, they need to be shamed publicly. And I'm sure Whitney didn't want to talk about the brand, but the brand is a DKT brand. It's Lydia Contraceptives. And initially, I didn't want to do this, but I think it's a very touchy topic. How much of bullying happens to women in the country, especially regarding some of these issues. And people need to speak up. If the person themselves can't speak up, somebody needs to do that for the person. And if you have a brand of such repute in the country where, some of the things for which your products are used for are very, very, pertinent things to women health and their being, you wouldn't tread like that. And so whichever powers that be in this room, please and please, if shaming, you give one to whoever did that, whoever
Good.
approved that, and whoever is
Good.
going to work with them.
Good. Randy, I'll come back to you, but let me pick Stephen Akpestri. Good evening.
Yeah, yeah. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Yes, I guess you've been listening to us on the space. What's your submission?
Yeah, I've been listening. I just want to just top up on what Mrs. Whitney said. I think she almost said it all. And my only contribution is, honestly, I really don't see the reason why people want to crucify Yvonne Nelson for writing her own story from her perspective. This is a story of her life, and for me, I think anybody has a right to write the story the way they want to write it. Even in movies, the directors they write stories in their own perspective, they twist minds. But this is her life story. And then I don't know why people are trolling her, why even celebrities, media houses, every media house you go to, you tune to, you will hear people saying a lot of ill things about her. And for me, I don't really think it's nice. We should rather focus on the positive impact of the book, because the book has a lot of positive impact, especially on our young people growing up. There are a lot of things young people need to learn from the book. And then instead of focusing on that, instead of elevating the reason why she wrote the book, people are rather trolling her. People are rather trying to think for her, rather trying to want to tell her the direction at which she should have gone with the book,
Mhm.
the name she should have written, the name she
Mm.
shouldn't have written, what she should have included, what she should have included. Meanwhile, this woman has been battling with these issues for years. For all you know, maybe speaking out is the way she will be healed, or that's her fulfillment. That's how she'll get fulfillment or relief from all these issues, and perhaps that's where she can get answers. But rather, we don't look at that. We don't even think about her perspective she's coming from. We don't even think why she had to write it this way, or like we don't think from her perspective. We rather just everybody just want to suggest. Everybody just want to give her opinion. Everybody want to have a say on how she should go about her own life. For me, I don't really think that makes any sense. For me, she wrote a book and it's impactful. Although I've not read the entire book, but I know that it's impactful. Even the few I've read, in fact, I give it up to her for the
Great.
boldness. The boldness. In fact, there are a lot of people who don't have the boldness to speak out. There are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ladies who are going through a lot of things, even in the industry, in our entertainment space. A lot of ladies are going through a lot of stuff, but they can't even come and speak. But from what after this book, I can tell you a number. I've seen a number of videos where people come out to say, ladies come out to say, "Oh, this person did this to me. This person did this to me." I mean, she gave a lot of people confidence. She gave people hope, and she gave people mind that yes, they can do it. They can, like, we should rather focus on the positive, because most
Good
times
point.
if things happens like this, everybody just want to go and fish out the negative aspect of it.
Mm.
What?
Mm.
The
Mm. Mm.
negative, the negative. But for me, it's not right. Now she mentioned Saturday, and everybody is on fire because she mentioned Saturday. Saturday is also a human being. Perhaps he made mistakes in the past, which everybody at some point had done. people make mistakes, but if your mistake you made in the past comes back haunting you in the future, regardless of whoever you are now or whatever you have become, it's nobody's fault. You made your mistake in the past. So if it's haunting you now,
Fantastic.
it's nobody's fault. So
Fantastic, Stephen.
if regardless of however the mistake you made is coming back to haunt you, if it's someone who is saying it, if it's in a book, if it's anyhow your mistake in the past comes back to haunt you, it's nobody's fault. You just have to accept it
Great.
and then move on with that. So
Hmm.
instead of us trying to let's focus on the positive aspects and then applaud her for this kind of courage and bravery she took. I mean, for me, that's all I
Thank you
just want
very
to say. Thank
much, Stephen. Now let me go to Belgium AFTV. Good evening.
Good evening, big man, and thank you for letting me kind of submitting uh, my. I don't know what that is. Will I say piece of advice or just a view? Because obviously I don't know the girl. So back I left Ghana a few years back,
Okay.
just after '92, Senegal '92, because I was born in England, but I came back around '92.
Mhm.
So literally, I don't know anything about Nelson, but obviously, I've social media. It's like he was getting on. Nelson wrote a book, and the main things is about the circle, the issue coming up, and it became a debate. And I think a couple of days ago, I was on a space too. Was it 2 days ago? And literally, the conversation, because I said, no, listen, I love Ghana, I love my country. Let me just listen to what's happening, sometimes. Because most times it's always about football, but this time around it's about entertainment. And I just want to say to the previous speaker, even in England, when it comes to entertainment, there's even in the States, there's a couple of nasty stuff or funny stuff always happening anyway. So this not Ghana was not going to be the first time, neither the last time. But what my problem, first of all, I'll commend her, for coming out and wrote a book about. Obviously, she needs to know. She's kind of getting confused, so obviously she's trying to look at how to identify herself. And unfortunately, the only person for me who can give her that answer will be her mom. So if your mom is not able to do it, there's no way. No man will come forward and say, "Oh, I'm the father," or whoever you're looking at for, I'm the person. So I don't think that it will happen that way. So on that one, I wish her good luck. But my little concern is because Sarkodie name was involved, and also Sarkodie is in relationship, isn't it? It's got a family.
Yeah, he's
So
married. Somebody's
he's
married.
married. Yeah, that's why I say he got a family. So I know because it seems when everyone's looking at Nelson, obviously she was vulnerable, or maybe at times she didn't think about protecting herself, blah blah blah. But then again, too, it's like I don't know how Sarkodie's wife will be able to be handling these issues, and they got a family. So hey, we got to think about, even though we're trying to sympathize or kind of trying to say, oh, nursing, blah, 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 we also got to try and again put into context the Sarkodie situations as well, because you never know what's going to happen. Maybe the missus might say, you know what, I'm done. So what's going to happen then? So, I mean, it's a bit, I don't know, it's just a funny situation because I've been listening to it. In fact, at one point, I didn't want to talk, but I realized that most of the people that you were calling, they were not talking. And you kept on saying, listen, if
Oh,
you
okay.
requested for the mic, yeah,
Some
that's
of
what
them
I
are
said,
bad.
that's what
Some
I
of
said,
them are
what,
bad. Yeah.
let me just kind of, and submit my piece of, I don't
I
know,
love your submission. That's
so, but
brilliant.
I know people should forgive me because it's just like I commended her, but then again, too, there's a human being, there's someone involved, and he's also got a family. So, what's going to happen to that family? And again, too, on a political scene, I don't know why Nana Akufo-Addo, NPP, I don't know why they were involved. And then again, too, normally, because it happened here with Matt Hancock, where when he was trying to, I don't know, he was trying to release a book and about the COVID, and he trusted a journalist, and all the WhatsApp messages, all the messages is got pass that on to the journalists. Then later on, she start leaking it into Daily Telegraph. So the thing is that messages that we were not supposed to be seeing, and we start getting to know about what they were doing during the COVID, or how Boris Johnson were missing Cobra meetings and all this stuff. Anyway, so all these secret messages came up. And what I just want to say is that, I mean, if you get someone like Nelson, she's into
Mhm.
the entertainment industry, and you're trying to get her involved into the political arena, I don't know what NPP was trying to achieve. I don't know. I'm baffled, and
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
that's my question. Why?
I
Why?
think that's a puzzle for all of us here. We cannot answer to that particular one.
Okay.
But it was written in the book that they wanted her to run for the MP slot for a constituency, so to run as a parliamentary candidate for the Ayawaso West Wogon constituency. So that's something that was offered to her, and she declined that offer. So yeah, they wanted to give her a political position, and
Position.
she didn't like that. So that's basically what they wanted her to do. I don't know the inspiration or the motivation behind that, but
Yeah, the
that was what
motivation
was
behind it.
indicated in the book. Thank you so
That's
much,
okay. Thank you, man,
Belgium,
for allowing me to talk, man.
AFTV.
Cheers, man.
Still
Yeah.
here, Joy Entertainment Unpacked. And we're talking about Yvonne Nelson's book, I'm Not Yvonne Nelson. We're assessing the ripple effect here. I have Adam Mensah Chotome. He is an entertainment journalist with the Spectator newspaper. I have Randy Walker. Randy is a brands media marketing executive. We also have Counselor Frank Edem Adofoli. I think we'll be going beyond 10 because we have a lot of people on who also want to speak. But before I go back to the listeners, let me bring in Counselor. Counselor, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Great. So I posed a question to Whitney earlier on. How important family love is to children?
Okay. I mean, the question is it's like a solution to what is happening or the antidote to what is happening. People are not happy with what is happening with Yvonne. Why is he speaking? Why is he writing book? Why is he saying this? But what they are refusing to accept is there's something that is missing. There's something that is lacking. There's something that she wants, and that is parents' love or family love. Research has shown that it have a positive impact on a child's life. If a child have a positive childhood, such as being loved by the parent, that can reduce depression, poor mental health, taking of substance, chronic disease, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately, sometimes parenting has been very bad in this country, especially the men. A lot of men believe parenting is all about providing the physical need, the money, stuff, and so on and so forth. But it goes beyond that. Your presence in a child's life is a key thing helping the child develop. Because parent love can influence the child in a positive way until even their adulthood. Adulthood. So let me just run through some of the benefits that can do for the child. One is security, that sense of security. The child feels safe, protected, cared for, and that gives the child that sense of stability. But once this is not there, the fear here is the danger here is that child is going to suffer from anxiety, fear, insecurity, and that's the opposite. Again, if we are giving the child the adequate love, the child will better self-esteem. That self-esteem that gives the child a positive image out there, and that confidence and that identity. I belong to a family. I belong to these people. This is our culture. This is our identity. This is our value. This is our principle. And the child seems to appreciate him or herself. Also help the child with the cognitive abilities. Look at what she's complaining about, failing at SSC and how she struggled to go through school. There are courses that was given to her was not something that she wants. It was just imposed on her, dumped on her. Nobody's even listening to find out what she really wants, what worked for her. No, So she's just all on her own. And then when she came back, it was still like a failure. We didn't even pass common SSCE. And see her colleagues going to the university. Where was she? She's at home. And that cognitive skill can be improved if a child is loved and cared for when they are growing up. Emotionally, somebody will think that, oh, you don't need to mention people's name in your book. Why mention Sarkodie? Why mention this? Why talk about sexual details and so on and so forth? But what the people are not telling you that these skills can be well managed when we are well loved at home. Because if I'm not well loved, how do I manage my emotions when I am not happy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, when I'm depressed? I do what I can do. Nobody has guided me. Nobody has cared for me. Nobody has been there for me to show me how to do it. I learned all my way. There's nothing like a wrong way or right way. And the book is just talking about the society. So this book is not a problem, it's a solution. The solution is because it's telling us this is what is happening. If we don't like what is in the book, what is happening now, then let's go back to our various rooms and ask ourselves, how are we taking care of our kids? How is the child development, their well-being? Are we there for them? Are we providing them the care they need, the support, the guidance, the affection, the encouragement they need? Are we there for them? The paternity, both mother and father are there. If the marriage is not workable, we can't work the relationship up. One of the things people take for granted is going for session, counseling session, therapy. Let's talk about a hurting issue. Let's take the emotions out. Let's clear our head. Let's clear our mind. Let's be stable as adults. Plan for the future because the children are our responsibility. They are vulnerable. We are supposed to give them the foundation. And if we are mentally unstable, emotionally unstable, we can't give them that environment. We make them more vulnerable. We expose them to danger. So most of the parenting, most of the people going to relationship, most of people having sex, they don't think about this kind of stuff. And when we have a little issue in a relationship, we rather run or we fight. And when we are fighting, we apply all sorts of tactics without even resolving issues within that space. And it comes back hurting our own children. So this is the society coming back to us. What is happening at home? The culture that this book is fighting is that culture, don't cry, don't talk about it, keep quiet, you make it feel bad. This is what the book is doing. So let's go back to our own closet. What are we doing wrong that we can change, we can manage, we can work on it? And this is something that all of us, as adults, as parents, growing up, thinking about relationship, we should be thinking in that regard. So the sense of security is key for a child. That self-esteem is a key for that child growing up. And if the child is going to do well in our social space, it needs to be loved. If that child will do well in our schools, and the cognitive ability, be able to learn, be able to reproduce whatever he has learned, the love comes back to it. And the emotions, how we manage our own emotions, it's all about how we are loved, how we are accepted, how we feel belong to the place that we came from, the people who brought us. So Yvonne has been applauded for what she has done.
Great.
And we should learn to give people what we call empathy. Empathy, give them support, appreciate them, bring them closer, and let them share with us those painful moments, so at least we can help them heal. And if we are not doing that, they are forcing that in the public space in form of book, that we should go and buy their story and read their story, read their pain, and change our life. I don't think this is a crime. This is not a crime.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Frank Adam Adofoli, for that one there. That's very deep. And earlier on, Whitney also made some profound statements, and I've seen a message from Hammer of the last two saying, "Great submission, Whitney Buachi Mensah." Kofi Kinata, I've seen you. You're on as well. Caleb Neboy, yeah, thank you very much for listening to this space this evening. This is Joy Entertainment Unpacked. And one thing is clear, the fact that the father is very, very, very important to the child, especially the fatherly love is very crucial to the development of the child. And so we need to pay attention to that from everything that has been written in that book, from the beginning of the book, from the day the teacher actually drew Yvonne Nelson's attention to the fact that she bore some likeness in name with Eugene. From that time till she grew up, there has been that issue of trying to find out who truly is her biological father. And that has been the crux of the whole matter. That is the height of everything in this book. I'm not Yvonne Nelson, still here. And let me pick one listener, Don K. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, bro. How
So
are you?
I'm doing fine. And how are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Have you read the book?
I have read the book and I must say
Okay, so
it's a
let's hear you.
fantastic
What do
book.
you make of the book? Okay.
But first, I would like to commend Winston for the submission. God bless her so much.
Okay.
Okay, I think she said everything and I wish I had recorded earlier. Okay, so one thing I think we should understand, Ghanaians, most of those who are ranting, is that this book is being written for the whole world to read this. She's telling a story, and not just for Ghana. Not just for Ghana. So if it happens that we know the author, we don't have to be ranting, and then we really need to take some cue from all what she said. After reading this book, I had to call my half sibling who's been so supportive. My half sibling, actually. I told him, God bless him so much after reading the book because he really opened up and then also accepted me as a half sibling, being the younger one. And reading the book, I realized Yvonne didn't have that, and it's hurting. Yeah. So I think she's also encouraging people to also live a real life and not look too much up to celebrities. I've been fortunate to live close to some musicians, and sometimes it's even good to just appreciate them from afar. So she's telling this story. When you are looking to some of them, you get close, you want to have something to do with them. It could happen. Hey, abortion comes in, and then you may lose your life. And she's advising. So I think we need to commend her for doing this and not to be ranting about it. Thank you.
Okay, good one there, Don K. And if you want to listen to this particular conversation, this show later on, you can go to Spotify to listen to the podcast or to Google Podcast or Apple Podcast. And on Saturdays, please don't forget to listen to Joy 99.7 FM from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. for Showbiz A to Z. That is our entertainment show that airs every Saturday, and it's the most authoritative entertainment talk show. We'll be coming your way this Saturday as well with another great production as usual. Let me go to Adam Mensah Chotome. And Adam Mensah Chotome,
Yo,
are
Kwame,
you there?
yo, Kwame. Yeah, I'm
Yeah. So
here.
what major lessons are there to be learned from Yvonne's story captured in the book?
Kwame, there are a lot of stories to be learned from this book. I mean, that's why for me, I don't just look at it simplistically, but I want us to go beyond what is happening. Would you believe that after Yvonne Nelson launched this book, an industry person who is about 58 years old called me to tell me that he is facing this same issue with his mother? For the 48 years he's lived on this earth, his mother has not been able to tell her who her father is. And he has decided to go on. However, this Yvonne Nelson's book, it's like it has given him a flashback. And these are some real issues happening in some homes. People are giving other people's pregnancy to people, and it is causing problems to the extent of even causing death and others, where children are left to go astray. So these are real societal problems we need to check. So this book is just reawakening that in our society for us to be circumspect about some of these things we do. Now, if you are a mother, a young girl, or a young boy coming up, you should know that whatever you do will be written in your child's book one day. So you need to be very careful of the kind of life you live. Because one day that story may be told and you may be disgraced, or you may be brought to some public ridicule, like it's happening here. So we all need to take a cue from this and ensure that we play our cards well. Also, I mean, family, the issue of the extended family. The issue of the extended family. I mean, some of us are trying to adopt the that immediate family where it is just me, my children. But this has taught us that it should go beyond that because if the extended family is more in the picture, maybe this matter.
Adam, excuse me. Ibrahim,
I
please
mean,
mute your
I'm
mic.
thinking of it.
Ibrahim, please mute your
Our
mic.
thinking of our
Ibrahim, please
we
mute your
need to
mic.
rethink
Adam, go.
about our family setup because this is us. We have our close family and the extended family. We shouldn't try and do away with that because if there is a problem and the immediate family is not there, what happens? How does the extended family comes in? So I mean, parents should let other members of the extended family know of, I mean, their so that they play their responsible role in the lives of the children. Also, it's also talk about something prevailing in the movie industry here in Ghana and Nigeria, where she talks about sexual favors for certain roles and certain support. So if you're a young girl or a young boy going into the movie industry, this is giving you a heads up of something which can happen. So it is up to you to make your mind on how to maneuver and go to achieve your dream. So it is telling you, giving you a hint. This is somebody who is in the water and is coming to tell us the depthness of the water. So it's also opening up that is not only pertaining in Ghana, but it may even be worse in Nigerian setup. And of Me Too, we've seen that within this time, some people are quickly trying to also.
Hello? Hello, Adam?
We let people. We should be careful in our dealings with people so that we do not fall into this. At the end, Kwame, at this point, I see this in PR, what we call the issue stage. This is at the issue stage. How it will be managed is will determine how it gets to a crisis stage or it does not get. So whoever has been mentioned in, this is the issue stage where the media and the public sits on it. How those who have been mentioned deal with it will determine how it gets to the crisis stage or it doesn't. Kwame. So, I mean, this is some
Okay.
of the things I make
Okay.
up. And those who have been mentioned, I don't know whether you come back to
Hmm.
me, but those who have been
I'll
mentioned,
come back to you. I'll
they
come back to
can
you.
find a
I'll
way.
come back to you.
Okay,
Hmm.
all right. All
I'll
right.
come back to you. Okay, Adam Mensah Chotomeda is a journalist with the Spectator newspaper, also a PR executive. Now, before I come to you, Randy, let me go to Ibrahim. He's been on for a while now. Ibrahim, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for joining.
Well, I haven't been able to read the book yet, but I have seen a little bit on the social media and a lot of commentary to others to have on the book. And I think a lot of sensationalization and pitying is going on. on behalf of Yvonne Nelson. But I think the lady is a strong woman, and she has done well. And at this very moment, if she has been able to go through all this from then to right now, I'm sure she's doing okay and she'll be okay. She doesn't really need a lot of preaching, much mean how people are talking about it and all that. And I think a lot of us too are missing the bigger story in the book, the paternity issue. I think that is the biggest story in the book that everyone has to look at. The part with Sarkozy and the other things, they all come together to make the book maybe popular. However, I want to say a little bit about Sarkozy and the way some people are bashing the guy. Like, I mean, he has been portraying himself as a good guy and all that all these years, but then people didn't know he has this secret, which I don't get it. If I should look at myself back when I was 22, if similar thing, should have happened to me, I don't know how I would have handled that issue. I don't think a 22-year-old guy who has nothing, going on for himself, can be blamed the way people are blaming him as if he was a big guy and he didn't do this and that. All of us, could have done the same thing. I'm sure if anybody were to be that person, 22-year-old, being told I have a pregnancy and you are the responsible responsibility, are you going to be able to take on? You cannot. Let alone, you can't even feed yourself to feed another person and a woman. So I think Sarko there as 22-year-old didn't really do a bad thing.
Okay.
I think for me, what they did even saved themselves. If
All right.
Yvonne had maybe have that baby, I don't think maybe she could have come to be the person she is right now, and Sarkodie as well. So that's my little thing.
All right, Ibrahim, thank you for your opinion on this issue this evening. Joy Entertainment Unpacked. Randy, so there is the mother-daughter relationship thing there. Randy, are you there? Hello,
Yes,
Randy?
Kwame.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
Kwame. I am.
as we speak now, according to Yvonne Nelson, for the past 1 year or so, she's not had any contacts with her mother. And so clearly, there is that kind of bad blood between her and the mother. Do you think there is anything that can be done to maybe reconcile them?
Kwame, yes and no, because I obviously wouldn't know how deep into, this fix they are as a family. But owing to the unwholesome precedents, some of her relationships with, her mother, her supposed fathers, her friends, people in industry, people who are trying to, sexual predators and everything, it's very, very, very possible to be cynical about the whole trust experience, the whole love experience, trusting somebody. It's very cynical to say, okay, this is my person and I'm going to trust them as much as I can. It's very, very tough right now to look somebody in the eye and tell them, yeah, I'm going to listen to you because you have me at heart. It's very, very, very difficult. I think what we should allow her do is to go through the ropes and whatever skill she's going to go through. When she is okay to speak to people, because you may not know exactly when she'd want to talk to. For all you know, she probably doesn't want to talk to any of these people ever again. Is this healthy? Definitely not. But we also need to give her some grace and respect whatever she wants to do. Because thing is, all these times, all this while when she was down in the mud, she was down in the gutter, nobody reached out for her hand. And so, if she wants to heal now, she should be able to choose how and when and at which pace she wants to heal. I think nobody should rush her into any process of healing at her own time. Whatever she feels like she needs to do, whatever she feels like she needs to go on to do, she should do it. But one key thing at the corner of all this is you probably can't go beyond whatever you're doing in this human experience without fostering relationships. I mean, from family to friends to business. That's how come you become what you are. I'm not sure Yvonne would have become that monster of an actress if she didn't foster any decent relationship with her fans, fellow colleagues in the industry, businesses and everything. And so, even in the muddiest of situations, you still need to go. That popular saying, when if you drown, are you going to say you won't drink water again? It's the same thing. You're still going to go back in there. But this time with your head before your heart. Because she felt like, previously, yeah, everybody was all out to look for me. And then, yeah, I'm going to do that and all of that. But now, if you do a deeper introspection into all these things that have happened around you, you tend to realize that, okay, this guy wants me. This guy wants good for me. My mom wants to see me in this light. And this is how I'm going to approach whatever conversation I'm going to have with. So yes, I obviously don't know what the dynamics of this relationship are in terms of what it's become with her mom and her, but he who feels it best knows best and can tell it best, and so I think we should leave it to her and whoever needs fixing to solve at this point.
All right, let me go to Bismarck Asari, a musician. Then I come to Whitney. B Black.
Hey, Kwame, can you hear me?
My brother, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Long time.
Long time. So what do you have to say to this issue?
Yeah, what I would say, first, I applaud Yvonne for the courage, the transparency coming out. Ghanaians, we don't have that culture of transparency. So if somebody comes out to speak about her life or something, we start to accuse a person. And secondly, we come from a patriarchal society, so we always put blames on women, even when men are at fault. We put the blame on the woman. So I applaud her very much for coming out. And thirdly, the book itself, writing a memoir is therapeutic. To be able to come out and talk about your life, it gives you the chance to heal because you're telling your story. You want people to hear you, and the way you tell your story and you open up, it's a healing process. So what Yvonne has done in itself is going to help her. It's going to help her heal. I think Counselor talked about it. It's also going to open up the space for people who are going through abuse and trauma to also share their experiences. And there are a lot of problems going on in the industry. People celebrity taking advantage um, of young girls and all that. So it opened up the space for people to come out and share their experiences. So I wouldn't say much. I think most of the points has been said.
Okay, let me go to Nana B before I come to Whitney and the rest of the panel. Good evening, Nana B. Nana Bonsu. Hello. All right, so let me come to you, Whitney. Whitney, so the biggest issue for me now is the relationship between Yvonne Nelson and her mother, for example. And I don't know if this book will be able to help solve that kind of rift between her and the mom. What do you think should be done if this book is not able to get her the father? Do you think there is a way to patch the difference between the two, between her and the mom?
Truthfully, Kwame, until her mother tells her the truth, I doubt if that relationship is anywhere near going back to what they used to. She needs answers to who is her father. If the woman, listen, it is much easier admitting that maybe on this particular time I was ovulating or doing whatever. I probably have slept with 2, 3, or 4 people and cannot pinpoint who whichever one person of them sowed the seed, for lack of a better word, for you to come here. If it's possible, let's call all 3, 4, 5, or 6 or 7 people. Let's have a DNA to solve this issue. But constantly lying to the child and telling the child 2 different people who she's had to go out of her way to seek the truth from, and none of it is true, it makes the situation worse. Also, if it came from probably being raped and you are ashamed to admit it, or you are still hurt about it, because if you read the book, she goes on to say that times when her mother will be upset with her, she tells her point blank that I never wanted to have you. I was 6 months gone with you, and I went to have an abortion, and the doctor said he couldn't do it. So you were even a mistake for being here. If whatever it is, whatever mistake to her that was, I think before she hits 40, the woman should not take this to her grave. She should let her poor child know that this is the situation. There were a lot. I cannot tell who this person is, but give her names. Let her run whichever tests to find out of the plenty names, because she went back to Mr. Nelson's son, the one she's close, the one she went to school with, Eugene, and they ran a test, and she knew that it wasn't true. She's done that with the second name she gave. That too isn't true. So really, it is now, upon everything we are saying, her mother is the one who holds the key to unlocking the truth about who her daughter is, because truly, her daughter isn't Yvonne Nelson.
That's something. Okay. Whitney Watching Mensa, thank you very much for your submission. I think I should read a few messages, then I come to counselor. All right, I saw a message here that I think I should read. Still here on Joy Entertainment Unpacked. Please don't forget to log on every Wednesday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Today we are doing to 10:30 because the excitement, the people are actually ready for it, and people are sharing their opinions. So we need to extend the time a bit, and that is why we are doing to this time. I saw this one earlier on. Let me try to read where the message. Okay, so this is from Felix Damwa. Says that I dreamt you would disgrace me. Now, this is a quote from the book. This phrase really got me, and I've been reflecting since Yvonne Nelson launched the book. I lost mine. You didn't write who you lost at age 4 and never heard of the father at 29 years. Okay, so that's your father. Emotional trauma is really affecting me. And then Saini Ibrahim Lukman says, okay, I've read this one already. This one is from Ajay Dixon Ofuri Asari. As someone who is not an entertainment pundit, I must confess that I am thoroughly captivated by the current media frenzy surrounding Yvonne Nelson's newly released book. The buzz and excitement generated by this pop culture phenomenon has been nothing short of mind-blowing. All right. And so Dixon again says, keen interest in the latest viral trends. Yvonne Nelson's book is a must-read that will leave you laughing, crying, and everything in between. So if you haven't already picked up a copy, what are you waiting for? Join the media circus and experience the magic for yourself. Okay, thank you very much. Let me come to Whitney. Okay, Whitney, your hand is up. I guess you want to make an input. Whitney.
Yes, a quick parting words.
Okay.
Especially for all my ladies and my sisters out there. Listen, I know sometimes it is hard. Taking care of children can be very hard. It is not can be. It is very hard. I mean, it is the one task I keep telling myself that I can easily close my eyes and think of all the creative to-do events, but it doesn't apply to raising children. And you can get tired, you can get emotionally worn out. But as hard as it seems, before we open our mouth to say things to our children that they will carry for the rest of our lives, let us pause and think of the damage that they would hold their entire lives and the rippling effects. The other thing too that I want to say is And it is from an experience of, I mean, Kwame, you know my story towards motherhood and all that.
Yeah.
And I found that Yvonne's mother started capitalizing on the God factor towards the end. Somebody just quoted, hey, and God revealed that you did. We tend to use the God factor a lot to scare people, to shame people when we are supposed to do the right thing. Listen, at a point in our journey towards having children, there's this very, very, maybe one day, it's not even one day, there are books in the lines that Nana read and
Mm-hmm.
Marcus begging me to write. And one of my encounters was with a very popular gospel musician's husband who has a church. And when you are seeking for children, you go to all sorts, especially when you are desperate. And what they do is they pry on vulnerable women seeking children and tell them that the sperm to have children is with them. So however means they will give you that sperm. If you're desperate, they would, for me, I went asking questions. How would you give it to me? What means will it be transferred and all that? And they got upset that I was asking questions. So I was told not to come back. But I know other people, and I know there are a lot of desperate women who would take this means.
Yeah.
For me, the reason why even in my wait during 3 miscarriages, 2 stillbirths and all that, it was the fact that at the back of my head, I vowed that I would never, ever make the mistake of breaking that trust, that pain of knowing that you are giving a child to somebody that isn't his. And however long it takes, Kwame, it will come out. No matter what you do, that truth one day will come out. And you are not only breaking the heart of probably the person you're with, it is the child. For the rest of their lives, they look at you differently. They don't trust you again. They don't trust the world again. The entire world is turned upside down. So before we think of ourselves and what works easily in the moment of who should I pass a pregnancy on to, let us think of the rippling effect of the future of all the people involved and what will happen.
Great. Thank you, Whitney Boachi Mensah there. I love this one. Counselor, so you are closing us. Counselor Frank Adofoli. So this is my last question to you, Counselor. If you were Yvonne Nelson's counselor at this point in time that she's written this book, and you were to give an advice to her at this point in time, what would that one advice be?
All right, Kwame, thanks for the opportunity. I'll try as much as possible to be snappy about it. I don't know whether Yvonne has also done a paternity test or a maternity test or a test between her and the mother to be sure that this is the mother.
Okay.
But there's
that's
a
not
lot
mentioned.
of questions. That's not mentioned. Yes, there's a lot of questions you're asking. You're looking for fathers. So does he have the fact to show like this is my mother as well too? So this is something that I'm just asking. And if we establish this is the mother, and the mother is not coming forward with a source of information that is so vital, maybe the approach has not been the best. So if there's going to be a change or even restore a relationship, there are a couple of steps to take. First of all, we all need to acknowledge that this is hurting. It's hurting because there's a lie, there's been betrayal, there have been things that has gone wrong. So if he's approaching the mother, it's not on the basis of blaming, criticizing, pointing finger, but it's based on the fact of her expressing her emotion, how she feel lost, a sense of loss, not love, not appreciate because of these details missing. And as the mother, she has grown to know, it We want the mother to open up to her and let us know whatever the story is. Just be sincere with me. You've gone to a certain state that you have nothing to lose at this point in life. So at least if they can open up and talk without blaming, accusing, or we good. Then again, we should have empathy for each other. In as much as this information might be coming late, people might be feeling guilt, shame, regret, and so on and so forth. Let's put ourselves in each other's shoes, both mother and daughter, both mother and daughter. Yeah, the two, if it is possible, if you want to seek for professional help, go for counseling, therapy. If the mother is willing to join, they can do a family counsel or therapy together. That will help the two to be able to cope, to be able to start a healing process, to be able to communicate how they feel effectively, to be able to resolve their issue without hurting each other further. That also helps. Then rebuilding the trust and this connection between them will take a bit of time, but will not be instant. What it requires is the mother, especially, they have to be more open, more transparent, and be there. Yvonne has to also be more supportive, be there for the mother to be able to listen. Yes, forgiveness, showing of affection. This is the time we need it so much. The family, we live in Ghana, the extended family is important. This is where we need the uncles, we need the auntie, the Abusia pennies, they should step in. They should step in and bring the two together. They should step in. At least the mother have a parent or the uncle, the siblings. These are their responsibility to step in. And so they can bring all of them together and see them and see how far we can support them. We should not wait that when somebody is dead, Abusia Pefun, and then we come and then we are fighting over a dead body because there's property involved. The person's life is alive now. The person's life matters. And this is where we need to go. Coming to Yvonne, this whole thing that has happened, I think after signing the book and so on and so forth, she needs to focus on the positive about this whole journey and throw away the negative. We all have our past. We need to learn from our past and become better. And we know none of us will run away from our past. None of us, all of us should not run away from our past. And then to the young one, all of us who are coming up, let's live a good life. Let's try as much as possible, learn from people's story. Because one day, if we don't do what we fail, our past will come hunting us. Sex is not a tool for entertainment. Sex comes with a lot of responsibility. It's not a tool for entertainment. So wherever you find yourself, whether you are married, you want to go and do something out, whatever it is, take responsibility. Ask yourself, after this episode, if a child comes, how are we going to deal with it? After this episode, when somebody is attached to me, what happened? What am I saying to get a sex from somebody else? After that, what are effects? Let's think about some of these things. Let's not just do things anyhow. And let's speak a positive word. What Whitney has said, he has said it so much. And I'm happy about the statement to the mothers out there. Mothers to learn to do work with their emotions. And this is a tip to all of us. When you are angry, I'm saying to all the people on the platform here, any of us, if you are angry and you love to speak, this is what you should do. No, close yourself somewhere else. You can now be in a digital age, you can put on the phone, say all the nonsense thing you want to see, store it. After a day or two, play back the nonsense. Somebody tell you to delete it. If you love to write all the nonsense. After 2 days, when you are calm, read the nonsense. Somebody tell you to delete it. Should be able to take that through a filter before you send it to somebody else. If you're able to do that, you will end up building relationship. You will not be destroying the relationship. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you so much for also joining us this evening right here on Joy Entertainment Unpacked on Joy FM's Twitter page. My name is Kwame Dazi. Now, my takeaway from this whole conversation is that Yvonne's story goes to tell how important the home is in raising children. No two ways about that. Because all the things we go through in our various homes while growing up, they reflect greatly in what we grow up to become. So Yvonne's search for her father may sound a bit stupid, quote unquote, but that is the heart of her struggles in life. And I think that, the absence of fatherly love is actually the result of this book that we are reviewing or talking about this evening. I am so thankful for your time this evening right here on Joy Entertainment Unpacked. We're back same time next week. But please listen to the show later as a podcast on Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. Then on Saturday, we bring you Showbiz A to Z on Joy 99.7 FM from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. This show is produced by Philip Nye, yeah. And then Oliver Fangden helped with social media support. My name is Kwame Dazi once again. Please, I'm here on Twitter. So follow me right here. And then go on other social media handles on IG, on Facebook, and follow me as well. Just be my friend there. Remember, this is Joy Entertainment. And we are actually always large and in charge. Good night.